In order to avoid competition, two or more companies combine. This may take place by means of a holding company, that is acquisition of one company as a whole, or the controlling interest in the shares of some other company. So, holding company is something that is already having 51% shares in A, suppose A and B. So, this is already having 51. If it wants to take the balance to avoid competition, it will take it. That is what the first one. Holding company, that is acquisition of one company as a whole or of the controlling interest in the shares of other company. Amalgamation, formation of a new company to purchase two or more existing companies. D, absorption, purchase of one existing company by another existing company without requiring formation of the new company but necessitating liquidation of the existing company. For example, look at it. For example, what is it? A and B are two existing companies. Both are liquidated and new company C Limited is formed to take over the business of A and B Limited. This is an instance of amalgamation. So A Limited, B Limited. These two get liquidated to form C Limited. This is called the amalgamated company. And this is called the amalgamating company. This is also called liquidating company. This is called the amalgamated company, or this is also called takeover company. Talk. This can call talk. I mean, just for namesake, nothing much. It's all the same. Depends on this thing. It may different names may begin. Amalgamating company, amalgamated company, liquidating company. Because this is dead. Once the takeover happens, this is no longer there. This is no longer there. Now only C is there. That is called amalgamation. What is in case of absorption? A Limited is liquidated and taken over by B Limited or else vice versa. So here what happens? This is an existing company, A Limited. This is being taken over by B Limited, which is also an existing company. So there is no new company being formed. Normally it doesn't happen normally, but it can also happen where this company may be formed. You will see that later. This is a new company which is formed to take over this. There can be a possibility. Generally, what happens is an existing company. This is also an existing company. A Limited is being taken over by B Limited. There is no need for new company to be formed like amalgamation. So this is called absorption. Now just it is only a name, don't worry about it, because as we do, you'll know it. Don't have to really much know about amalgamation or absorption and all that. Don't worry about it. It is primarily same, all same for our purpose. Now, in case of according to AS14, amalgamation is segregated into two categories. One is in the nature of merger, one is in the nature of purchase. This we have to know what is what, because that also will not matter much, but at least for theory's sake, and they ask questions on this for which you need to know. So first we have to look at in the nature of merger. Very simple. Amalgamation in the nature of merger. The following conditions are required to be satisfied. So if it satisfies these conditions, then how many conditions? 1, 2, 3, 4 conditions, 5. Sorry, it is not coming in the same line, but it's 5 conditions are there. What are the conditions? All assets and liabilities of the transferred company, again see new name, after amalgamation becomes the assets of the transferee company. Here, if you imagine A as your existing company which is being taken over by B, this is the transfer company, another name, or the liquidating company, or the amalgamating company, all same. And this is the transferee company. So what it's saying, all the assets and liabilities of A, that is A here, after amalgamation becomes the assets of the transferee company. That is, all the assets and liabilities should have come here. That is number one condition. That means all the assets have to come. It cannot be that they can leave anything. Shareholders of not less than 90% of the face value of the equity shares of transfer company, that is A, excluding those already held by transferring company or of its subsidiaries, beyond which they are already holding something. So, after leaving out that, become the equity shareholders of the transferring company, that is B. So, what the idea is, when this takes over, what will happen is whoever are at least 90% of the shareholders of A should become the shareholders of B. Now you can say, how is it possible? No, it is possible, because how is it not possible? That's what you can say. The reason is because the shareholders of A, out of the total one, may be not interested to go to be a shareholder. They'll say, no, no, you give me the money and take over the assets. I don't mind. So they are paid money and settled. In that case, this will not be coming under the nature of merger. Merger happens only if at least 90% of the shareholders of A become the shareholders of B. That is when it can be called as in the nature of merger. So again, I am reading. Shareholders of not less than 90% of face value of the equity shares in the transfer company, excluding those held by the transfer company or subsidiary before amalgamation, become equity shares of the transfer company by virtue of amalgamation. Next, the consideration for amalgamation receivable by those equity shares of the transfer company who agreed to become equity shareholders of the transferring company. Transferring means B company is to be discharged by the transferring company by equity shares in the transferring company, that is in B, except cash that may be paid for fraction, which means the shareholders of A should be settled by B only by shares of B Limited. They cannot give cash or anything. They can give cash only for some adjustments in the shares in the fractional part. Only to that extent, if there is a need for adjustment, they can give cash. Otherwise, the shareholders of A have to be satisfied only by shares in B. That is also another condition. The business of the transferor company is intended to be carried on after amalgamation of the by the transfer. Whatever business A is doing should be continued by B. Next, no adjustment is to be made to the book value of the assets of the transfer company, that is A, when they are incorporated in the finance statements of B, except to ensure uniformity in accounting policy. Sometimes these people are following one method of accounting policy, say they are following the stock under FIFO. These may be following, say, weighted average. Then obviously when it goes here, two methods of stock valuation cannot happen. Therefore, here also it should be when they take the assets of A, it was under FIFO, the stock. When it comes here, adjustment has to be done to ensure that it is at weighted average. Under this type, there is genuine pooling of interest, not merely takeover assets. The amalgamating company of the amalgamating company, but also the shareholders' interest and the business. So, the primary aim of merger is to ensure that the total A actually becomes part of B. Now you can say, sir, why? Otherwise, how does it happen? Yes, there are a lot of things that happen, because there can be a situation where A is being taken over by B for various reasons. Maybe what they do is there might be some big asset in this A, some particular, say, uh, your real estate property. So A Limited is taken over by B. They need only this real estate property, but they purchase the entire A Limited, and they need this, right? So they will take only this asset in their books, rest and all they will settle it and clear it off. That is not possible in merger. And they will not even continue the business of A Limited, because their idea is to get the asset only. Then it is not in the nature of merger. That is why you're saying no change in book value in the assets. Nothing. You continue as it is. And all the shareholders have to be shareholders of 90% of shareholders should be shareholders of B Limited. So which means there should be genuine merger here. That is genuine pooling of interest. Genuine pooling Otherwise, there is no point in this type of amalgamation. It is in the nature of, it is not in the nature of merger. So therefore, to reiterate, if it has to be merger, all the 5 conditions have to be satisfied. Now, these conditions from where they are coming? AS14. So, as we are discussing, we are actually looking at AS14. So, therefore, what is in the nature of purchase then? What is in the nature of purchase then? Listen. Amalgamation in the nature of purchase. An amalgamation that does not qualify any one or more of the conditions. That means the above 5 conditions. If any one is defaulted, gone, then it cannot be qualifying as merger. It has to qualify as purchase. So therefore, if any one or more conditions of amalgamation in the nature of merger should be considered as an amalgamation in the nature of purchase. Does not satisfy. So purchase, you don't have to worry. You have to just look at this. This is merger. So all the time they have asked this question is, what are the requirements of amalgamation in the nature of merger? So you have to write all these 5 conditions in the query question also. So be careful. Now, as far as merger is concerned, there is genuine pooling under. Therefore, it's also called pooling of interest method. Purchase is called purchase method. So just take care. So again, we are going to look at some of the other way of expressing the same thing. Same thing. So applicable to amalgamation, pooling of interest method, application by way of merger. This is the nature of purchase. Assets, liabilities, reserves of the transfer company are all aggregated with those of the transferee company, indicating total aggregation. Total aggregation. Here, assets, liabilities of transfer company are taken over by the transferee company. Transfer company, again, I am telling you, transfer company is B here, like A here, and transfer is B. And the aggregated indicating partial aggregation. That is, are taken over. It need not be that entire assets have to be taken, only partial also can be possible. No reserves of the transfer company. Transfer company is which one? This is transfer company A. Other than what? Statutory reserves. There are some statutory reserves are included in the transfer company. So in this case, one of the important things when you do the accounting, merger, you have to take all the assets, liabilities, reserves, everything as it is. Here you don't have to do that. Therefore, but one important thing, even reserves you should not take it. Only statutory reserve it is there, we have to record it. Similarly, assets, liabilities, and transfer are recorded by the transfer at existing value. Whatever is the book value, at that it has to be recorded. There cannot be any change in the value. Here they are recorded in the carrying amount or purchase consideration is allocated to the individual identifiable assets and liabilities on the basis of the fair market value. So here there is the possibility of change. So whenever you look at a problem, if they say that the assets have been taken over and recorded at a different value than the book value, which is in the balance sheet of A Limited, immediately it is the nature of purchase because any one of the conditions. Similarly, difference between PC and share capital of the transfer company is adjusted in general reserve or other reserves. Here, difference in PC paid and net assets taken over in the books of the transfer company is adjusted as goodwill or capital. All reserves of the transfer company are incorporated in the books of the transfer company. Statutory reserves are recorded in the usual way with other reserves without any requirement of adjustment, amalgamation. But here, amalgamation adjustment is used to bring the statutory reserves. This all we will look at it, don't worry about it, just wanted to read it up. So now, what are the entries? I am not going into the entries, we will come to the entries. Before that, we will try to do the first problem.